What is going on YouTube? This is your boy Callie and we're back with another video. Today we are fixing the screen on the Moto Z3 XT1929-17. I'm going to show you how to remove the screen digitizer and how to reinstall it again. So let's just go ahead and get to it. So first thing you want to do is you want to get your heat gun, and before I get started, we're going to heat it up, and the ribbon cable for this screen is actually down here. So we're going to heat up this part, and we're going to use a guitar pick to start going around the edges, and then we're going to do this part last. That way we can lift it up, and then I can soften the adhesive here so we don't damage the screen. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and get it started. And you also don't want to leave your heat gun in one place for too long. You don't want to end up causing solder inside the phone to start dissolving. I know it takes a long time, but you don't want that to be the case whatsoever. So let me go ahead and do this. You also got to be careful when the glass is cracked like this and the adhesive is not loose enough. You will start breaking the glass even more, and then it's going to start getting everywhere. So you do want to be careful with that. Okay, so what you want to do now is take this section and go ahead and put it on, so we can start lifting up the screen and see if we can put the guitar pin on there. Be careful, because this is going to be hot, like you just saw right now. My finger, oof, that was hot. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So it is enough. Ah, fuck. That was a little bit harder than I expected. So we are able to get the guitar pick in there. So the reason why this came off is because there's cracks on the glass and it's not sealing properly. So, and I'm also trying to do it in the air. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's try it again. Come on, here we go. Okay, we got the guitar pick in there. So this part right here is where you also want to be careful, because the glass is broken there and then the camera's on there. You want to be extra careful on that side. So, oh, it looks like it's completely detached. So what we're going to do now is we're going to skip this part completely and go down to this side and then start doing the same thing over here. So let's see if we can get in here. Come on. If you can't do it with the guitar pick right away, excuse me, there is this tool. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but it helps you get in there sometimes better than the guitar pick. I don't like to use it as much because it is a lot stronger and harder to control than the guitar pick. So sometimes these actually end up taking out ribbon cables if you're not careful. So that's why it's good to get you in there, but I would recommend you always stick with the guitar pick. So I'm not going to go all the way down, because remember, the ribbon cable for that digitizer is down there. So let's see if we can lift up these small parts over here so they don't end up staying behind. And we might have to use this after all, so let's see, here we go. So like this grill right here, we are going to have to transfer it over to the new screen, so make sure you don't lose that part when you're removing the screen. Okay, let me go ahead and remove the whole thing, just so we have enough space. Okay, so if it starts not gliding as easily, don't force it. Just go ahead and take your heat gun and, oops, once again, just apply enough heat to where the adhesive starts to become loose, and then you can go with the guitar pick again. In this case, because it is a screen repair, it doesn't matter if you apply the heat gun directly onto the LCD. On some repairs, like iPad repairs, where the glass, the digitizer is separate, you want to be careful not to leave the heat gun too long near the LCD, otherwise you are going to cause an image burn. So let's go ahead and open this. That's just the adhesive. Okay, here we go. Okay, and there it is. So there's that ribbon cable that I was telling you guys about. And let me get my tweezers so I can remove a small little piece of oops, wrong ones. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and open this and take these tweezers and so I can remove this right here that's covering the connector of the screen. Okay, so lift it up enough where I can do this, put that to the side, and then we're going to take this pick and we're going to lift this tab so we can release the screen. And there it is. So we're going to go ahead and remove the screen now. Okay, there we go. So there's the old one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to remove all these pieces. But first, what you always want to do, we're going to peel this back because the battery connector is down here. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to remove the battery, or at least disconnect it when you're doing a repair. A lot of technicians says it doesn't matter, but yes, it does. You want to remove the battery or at least disconnect it so you don't short out your motherboard. Oh, there we go. Let's go ahead and unpop that. There we go. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to take a small flathead screwdriver. Let's go ahead and find it here. Oh, there it is. And we're just going to lift all these parts up. Here we go. Okay. And just be careful, try not to get glass everywhere because you don't want to have that everywhere in your I mean your workspace. So here we go. Also, don't do as I do, wear gloves or something protective against glass. Don't want just doing it with your fingers because oh my god, these things are a pain when you get glass in your fingers, and it's just takes a while for it to come off on its own, and it's just bothersome when you're doing other repairs. So always be careful with that as well. Okay, here we go. Almost done. This is just the last part. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like there's one piece of glass inside that lens, and we're going to remove that right now because that shouldn't be there. Let's go ahead and get this last part out. Come on. So let me remove this little gasket. Oh no, it's actually on here, so that's good. Let's go ahead and put this back. Excuse me guys, make sure there's nothing else on there. It looks like there is. Let's see, what's this right here? Another piece of glass? Yes, it is. You want to remove that because otherwise the camera's not going to work well with that piece stuck on there. And I'm actually doing it the wrong side. Oh, come on. It is still on there. I should be able to get it with the tweezers now. So close. There, got it. And that's why you don't want to be too rough when there's broken glass, because then it makes it even harder to remove all the little parts that you need. Let's see. that looks good. So let's go ahead and put this back on there. So, and okay, that's back on there. And then we're going to take a little flathead again, and we're going to go around, make sure there's no adhesive or other glass on there. Like there's that little piece of glass, remove that. And you want to do this because you want to remove all the leftover adhesive. Sometimes they form these little balls that don't let the new adhesive or the new screen sit properly, and then your screen is going to lift, and then the customer is going to be mad, and then you have to put in a new screen out of pocket because you didn't do it right the first time. So this one came off pretty clean. It looks like all around. We want to remove all of this. Here we go. Yep, that came off pretty clean. Looks like there's a little bit here. Okay, that came off. And make sure it's nice and clean. Get every little, oh, there's another little piece of glass. And I can tell you those are a pain in the butt when you think you got it all clear and then this new screen won't sit properly and you're like, what is going on? I can bet you that 9 times out of 10 it is that thing that's not working properly. So let's go ahead and get the new screen and test it, make sure it's working. So let's go ahead and slide that in there. Let me see, how do I do this for you guys without, okay, let me sit down for this because this is going to be a little bit tough. So Motorola has always done the LCD ribbon cable down here, and it's always been a pain in the butt for me to be able to get it on there. So let's see if we can slide it in. Oh, we got it in. Put this down, and then we're going to connect the battery one more time. And let's go ahead and power this puppy up. And there it is. And that is, well, we got to make sure it boots all the way properly and test that the digitizer and the touch is working properly. So this screen doesn't come with adhesive. Hello, Moto. So we are going to use our own adhesive to properly put this down. So we're going to go ahead, and it is working. We're just going to try one time. Oh my god, that was actually the password. Jesus. That is not good. Don't always make that your default password. So let's go ahead and lock that again. And we're going to use 2 types. We are going to use this size and this size. I can't remember the exact size, so I'll try to look it up and put it in the description for you. Oops, don't want to show you who that is. So let's go ahead and turn this off. So we can do this properly. Let me go ahead and move the heat gun out of the way. Alright guys, so I have no idea what happened to the audio in this clip. I was recording it with my cell phone, so I don't know if there was an issue there. But what I'm basically doing here is I'm removing the digitizer one more time from the phone, making sure that the battery is connected properly, and then putting the protective layer back on it again. Many people might think that that's the wireless charging pad, but it's not. This model actually doesn't support that. So I'm just putting that together. I was thinking about using that size adhesive, but it's actually a little bit too wide, and it was gonna actually touch a lot of the components. So I moved over to that smaller size that you're gonna see now. And let's see, come on, there we go. So it's these ones don't come in pre-cut strips like you see here. I actually cut it up because I let one of my friends borrow some. So that's why it's showing like if it was pre-cut, but this actually always comes in a roll, unless you I mean, you can buy it pre-cut, but it's actually more expensive, and I really don't recommend that way, because this way you actually don't waste a lot. You can just cut it down a size than the pre-cuts. So I'm just cutting the extra, and then I'm using that spudger to go down, like you'll see right now. I lay down first, and then I use the spudger, the flat side of it, to go over the adhesive to make sure it's actually making the proper contact and the adhesive to adhesing. Is that even the right word? Anyways, make sure it's actually getting to the device and it's not just floating on top of it, because sometimes when you lay it down, it looks like it's actually touching the device, but it's really not. So you got to make sure that the adhesive is actually on the device itself. So it's always good to use something to make sure it's actually touching the device, because you don't want it to put it on there and then you put the screen and then nothing's actually bonding with the device itself, and then the screen's going to start lifting up again. One thing to note though, I did say last time that I was that we were gonna sorry, at the beginning of the video I said that we were gonna transfer the grill of the phone onto the new digitizer. This one actually had the grill attached to the device itself, so we didn't have to do that. So depending on what model of the Moto Z's you're fixing, on some of them you do have to transfer that grill over to the new digitizer. On this one, thankfully it was attached to the device itself, so we didn't have to do anything. So at this point I'm just making sure everything's going to line up correctly, and then I use that small flathead to remove the adhesive protective strip, and we do that all around. Make sure any parts that lift up, 'cause sometimes when you're removing that, it actually lifts up the adhesive, so you want to make sure you go back and correct that. So we're going to go ahead and do that for all four sides. Man, it's really hard not to say It's like I'm just used to that, and I didn't realize how bad it is until someone pointed that out for me. Is terrible. What's up, Tubby? Okay, so then we're just gonna put the digitizer down. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go around the whole screen, make sure everything's actually making proper contact with the adhesive, nothing's lifting up, and it's flush against the device, because sometimes it could be a little bit of curvature on the device and the digitizer is not going to sit properly. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on, make sure it boots all the way. I know, Tubby, we're fixing the phone. Okay, so it booted up and it's ready for the customer to pick up. And that's how to fix and that's how to fix a Moto Z XT1929-17. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.